Rainbows Are Circles, Episode 11. Today we're speaking with Anna Bazarnaya, herbalist, aromatherapist, and dare I say plant whisperer, who will open our eyes to the incredible world of plants and the many ways they can benefit us humans. Discover how plants have intelligence, personality, and the ability to communicate with us if we only take the time to slow down, listen, and connect to their healing powers. Let's wake up to the wonder of flora and foliage with Anna Bazarnaya. Welcome to Rainbows Are Circles, a podcast exploring human potential and everyday wonder. What possibilities open up for us when we explore life with optimism, curiosity, and an open mind? Join me, Julie Malari, as we wake up to wonder and speak with inspirational guests on the topics of personal development, alternative health, and even magical, mystical, yet often misunderstood practices. Are you ready? Before we jump into today's episode, I have a special request for you. If you're enjoying the Rainbows Are Circles podcast, please leave a rating and review for the show on iTunes or your favorite podcasting app. You can also become a patron of the show and receive exclusive content, including guided visualizations and bonus secret episodes. Just visit patreon.com/rainbowsarecircles. That's patreon.com/rainbowsarecircles. Thanks so much for supporting the show. And now it's plant time. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Rainbows Are Circles. Today, we're talking about plant medicine, communicating with plants, and how we can use plants to help us heal. We have an amazing guest on the show today. Her name is Anna Bazarnaya. She's a professional flower essence therapy practitioner, certified plant spirit herbalist, and clinical aromatherapist. We are going to be talking with Anna about how she came to realize this ability to communicate and listen to and work with plants, and what she's doing now to use this connection with plants to help others to heal. Anna, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So Anna, you seem to have a unique ability to communicate with plants. How and when did you realize you had this connection?
I wouldn't call it unique. I would just say that I'm more sensitive than many people, or that I allowed myself to be more sensitive. Because in my opinion, all humans are capable of communicating with plants. It just requires practice, a lot of patience, slowing down at the moment when you want to establish connection, and being really in your body, grounded, and being able to open all the senses, a sense of, the vision, the smell, the touch, to listen, like all the senses, to be able to notice a message from the particular plant. I could feel the energy of the plants since I was a little girl. Like, for example, if I was in nature, I never felt lonely around trees and animals when there were no other humans around. And trees were like big brothers and mentors, and herbs and flowers were like giggling little sisters. And all animals were like my friends, and they all had different energy, and they all communicated in a certain way. So even if we didn't speak in the language as we humans perceive it, there was always some sort of communications and the signals that we sent to each other. And I always respected and loved nature, and it always somehow received and loved me back. And it was like a big loving family for me that had a lot of secrets and knowledge, and the communication was for me to decipher and understand what I can do with this sort of communication and why these messages are sent to me. when, for example, somebody was hurting an animal or cutting the tree, I could feel their pain, because there is a significant energetic shift when the plant or animal is suffering. And the signal that I receive is completely different. It's basically, I feel the, not exactly pain on the physical level that it's more unsettled, disturbing sensation in the body and a lot of sadness and grief in me. Later in life, the plants started to send me specific signals and messages and kind of signal that they can help me in a particular case when I started working with humans and take private clients for my aromatherapy and flower essence practice. Plants will come to my dreams or when I was asleep or as visions or sudden sense of smell of a particular aroma or the words or the name of the plant or its Latin name or a main kind of attribution associated with a particular flower or plant. So I would know, oh, interesting. That's probably what that person needs at this moment. Or if it was just me, then it was, oh, then that's probably what I need right now. And when I researched, I did a lot of research in terms of understanding what every plant, not every, of course, because there are millions of plants on Earth, but the specific range that I work with, what is this particular plant is associated with? Because physicians and doctors throughout the history of the humanity in ancient civilizations, they started this research, and there are tons of information and experiences and knowledge that generations of doctors and physicians shared with us. And also, and always there is a personal experience and what I've learned in the years of my practice and in my own healing journey. So I understood the energy and the chemistry of each plant, what it can do for me on the physical and energetical and emotional level. And I started to implement it more and more in my practice and started to trust my intuition and just listen what shows up when a person describes me its issue or problem. Usually it's spot on clear. And sometimes I would logically think about one particular remedy that is good for the person. But suddenly I will have a vision and another flower or, plant will come up and I'm like, why are you here? And then I will research and and I would notice that sometimes a person is not aware what the root cause or what is actually troubling him or her. And that's why he cannot tell me what exactly the problem is. And sometimes what I receive intuitively through the plant message from the plant, is helping me to establish the truth, like the root cause. What is behind all this kind of superficial symptoms that the person can experience? And this is valuable. And it took me some time, and I'm still learning and from experience and kind of fine tuning my intuition to be able to decipher and understand how the plant and the person, their archetypes interfere, and how I can, from which position I can start helping person emotionally, physically, mentally, like what was in the root of the current problem, and how can we achieve the fastest and most potent result.
So it sounds like the work that you do with people draws from your ability to communicate with the plants, studying that you've done, and also this intuitive ability to sort of sense what the person might need.
Yes, that's true. And slowing down. And I would just have to say that it comes at a certain price, because I spent 3 years in the jungles of Costa Rica I didn't have a TV. All I had was, my computer, because I did many online studies and classes, and I had to do an intense research. But basically it was just me in nature, books, and that was it. And I don't do what other people do, because there's a lot of noise in the air right now. And to be able to be connected and hear the subtle messages from your own body and from nature, it requires a certain level of silence and quietness. I would say, and slowing down. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's hard for a lot of people to do, but I can see how disconnecting for a little bit, having a little bit of quiet and stillness can really help us to connect more with our intuition and with nature. So Anna, how do you communicate with plants? What does that feel or sound like? And what sort of messages do you receive?
So I feel the energy of the plants as we all humans feel the presence of other humans, for example, when we are in the city, in a crowded environment or in a crowded room or auditorium. You sort of perceive and you are aware that there are many beings around you, and you don't necessarily see their individuality yet. You're just aware of that there are others around you. And then you pick individuals that for some reasons appeal to you or use the certain body language that they want to communicate with you and to get acquainted and to know you better. And sometimes you feel it on certain kind of chemistry that happen between people, how they choose that they want or not want to get acquainted with each other, make friends, or become romantic partners, this sort of connectedness. So I feel the same with plants, and the messages and signs could be on the energetic level, like as if somebody is staring at me or calling me by name, but I don't really hear the name, but it's almost like somebody is tapping you on your shoulder, like to pay attention. And I would look around and then I would just know right away who is staring at me, who is sending this message. I'm like, okay, what are you trying to say? And, it took me, as I said, it took me years to understand. And, sometimes it's just a very communicative plant. And, they're all individuals. Some plants are very open and easy to acknowledge and to journey with and to kind of perceive the energy. They're just, come to me, sit under my branches. I'll heal you. They're so fast in giving you information and healing results. And some plants, they just don't want. They are there, but they ignore you. And with some of them, and I wanted to do, for example, some flower essences, but I would approach the plant again and again, asking permission, and it would just turn away from me almost. As even though there is no wind or there's a little wind, but it's just like avoiding contact with me or doesn't want to communicate and doesn't want to tell me what its medicine is. And sometimes it's hurting the ego. It's like, why are you not cooperating?
It's playing hard to get.
Yeah, exactly. And with many plants, that's how it is. And you approach them again and again. And in the world of herbalists, there is such a tradition as doing offerings, and you bring offerings to a plant as water or seeds, or sometimes I would pour some flower essences actually to other plants as offering, like the vibrational medicine, and they love it. And so that's how I sort of communicate and establish the connection with the plant. And after how would I explain that? It's when I establish a connection with a plant, it has a certain place in my heart and I guess in the brain too. And it's almost like when you sense that your friend is calling you, or I don't know how to describe it, like in the normal, human language. It's, the messages that I receive. Sometimes I would talk to a person, like to the client, for example, and just suddenly I have this, I don't know, it's like not the daydreaming. It's like you're imagining or visualizing something, but your eyes are not closed. So it's kind of seeing with the third eye. And sometimes the particular flower, just like an image of the flower will show up. Sometimes, as I said, it will be just the name of the plant, like a hibiscus, or it's interesting. It's different in different times. And I just, trained myself to pay attention to this. And because sometimes it feels like, oh, why am I thinking about hibiscus when I'm supposed to listen to the client's, issues? And I just learned that actually the messages like that come for a reason. and they're there to help, not to distract.
Okay. So it's learning to listen when you kind of get one of those messages, as opposed to letting your logical mind sort of rationalize and, oh, that's probably not it, which a lot of us have been trained to do, is not listen to our intuition or those things that seem to be coming through like an extra sense. We tend to rationalize everything away.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is this beautiful balance. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm just using intuition. No, by no means. I have tons of books. I work with teachers, mentors. I attend classes and workshops, and it's a combination. It's logic and book knowledge, experience, and also these intuitive messages. And I also use pendulum, for example, to dose on and correct my kind of check my formulations. And there are multiple ways I try to confirm that my selection of the remedy is exactly what the person needs.
And a pendulum. So when you would swing a pendulum perhaps over one of your remedies and see if it's turning in the right direction, or how do you use the pendulum?
This is one of the techniques to work with flower essences. I'm usually doing it only when my formula is ready. And I have my own technique on just yes, no, because sometimes I have a selection. I usually don't mix more than 5 flowers. And this is kind of a rule of thumb in the world of flower essence practitioners. And, well, herbalism is a little different. But for flower essences, for example, you don't mix you more than 5 flowers. It's just it can become a cacophony rather than a symphony and synergy. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the logic actually comes and tries to convince me that this essence should be in the formula. And sometimes it's right. So I write down, maybe, it depends. Sometimes the recipe is just, okay, this is the 5 and I don't have any doubts. But sometimes I have this feeling in the guts, the gut feeling, seriously, that, it's not quite there yet. I'm missing something. And I also learned to listen to that and not ignore this feeling and go again through every option. And sometimes I'll just use pendulum and see and dose on like, okay, how beneficial is this flower for this person? And it gives me yes, no, and even, percentage on a scale of 0 to 100. I made this little card, when it shows yes, no, and kind of percentage from 0 to 100. And it just shows me how, on a scale from 0 to 100, how beneficial is this flower. And sometimes there is a disagreement. And I mean, it's a process. It's a beautiful process. And it takes me time to put together a remedy, a custom formula. But, yeah. And it's interesting because sometimes it's all the 7 or 8 flowers. It makes sense to include them, but it's also a choice. Where do we begin? Because the person's problem can be rooted in the childhood, and we need to address something that, it was a traumatic experience that happened 30 years ago. But right now, the person is in such a state of fear or anxiety that we need to address this first before we dig deeper and, open the old wounds. So sometimes I have to put some remedies on hold to make sure that I prepare a person to receive a deeper remedy by just kind of calming down what is flared up right now.
Okay. Fascinating. Okay. So how do plants benefit humans?
Oh, in so many ways. I just can talk the whole hour answering just this question. And we benefit from just being in nature, and science had proven that that the time that we spend in nature makes us happier, more creative, and less stressed. And for different reasons, from like more oxygen saturated air that we have in the forest or at the ocean beach. And by having negatively charged ions that just shift our mood. And I'm not even saying about all the smells and essential oils and volatile compounds that are floating in the air when we just stroll through the forest or through the park. So just even without taking anything specifically internally, just being in nature and looking at the color green, which is by default is very calming and very good for the eyes. So we can just do that and get the health benefits for free. And then there is, of course, yeah, then there is herbalism, which is a folk or traditional medicine practice of using medicinal plants and plant extracts to treat diseases. So there in herbalism, we use the actual chemical components of the plants to address disorders and imbalances of our physical, mental, and emotional bodies. And I practice aromatherapy mostly, which is also a part of herbalism. And as aromatherapists, we use aromatic essential oils, so aromatic molecules medicinally to improve the health of the body, mind, and spirit. And aromatherapy enhances both the physical and emotional health. And we can release emotional trauma from the cellular memory, and by accessing the amygdala and hippocampus. Those are the parts of the human brains that are responsible for storing and processing memories and emotions, which include the traumatic experiences from the past and even so-called transgenerational trauma. So something that our ancestors experienced and passed to us through the DNA. And it is fascinating, and it's such a multi-level discipline. That's why I love aromatherapy, because it kind of covers it is a holistic approach. We cover all the bases: the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual health. And then there is the vital energy or prana, chi of each plant, and its so-called energetical signature that we use in so-called vibrational medicine. And vibrational medicine affects the subtle body, the biofield or the aura of us humans and animals as well. And through this subtle body, we affect mostly emotional and mental health. And then, in turn, through body-mind connection, we can transform our physical health as well. And some physical symptoms disappear. So flower essences belong to the category of vibrational medicine, and they are often called psychotherapy in the bottle, or I like to call it medicine for the soul, because we address the actual soul matter that the traditional Western allopathic medicine completely ignores and treats us as the machines.
Can you give us an example of maybe your favorite plant and how it can help to benefit or help heal somebody?
First, I think there are different favorite flowers and plants, but right now I'm thinking about the helichrysum. It's also called immortel or everlasting. It's an amazing plant that is usually that grows in Mediterranean, and we get the essential oils and the hydrosol by distilling that plant. And this is the amazing skin regenerative essential oil that actually heal the wound and heal the scar tissue, and also help in skincare to just naturally renew our skin cells and look younger and more vibrant and beautiful. But it also heals the emotional scars and heals the wounds that it helps to release the trauma, as I mentioned earlier, from the cellular memory and heal our emotions in the past. And it's just such a beautiful plant, both chemically and energetically. And interestingly, the flower essence works the same way. It actually helps to heal the wounded inner child, and it helps with the memories of the childhood. And sometimes we just forget a lot of our childhood because it was too painful, and we forgot both good and bad. And we just have a gray blank space instead of the memories. So the immortal flower essence helps to bring it back to us, so we can actually work with our own memories and grieve and give ourselves support that is needed. And thus, by not suppressing but actually facing and having compassion and love and kindness towards ourselves, we finally can move from trauma to healing and go further and kind of move on in life. It's fascinating. It's really fascinating. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay. So you mentioned both aromatherapy oils and flower essences. These are two of your main products. How do you prepare plant products, and what are you extracting from the plants when you're making these products?
Well, I work with both the plant medicine that I made myself, and I also use remedies that were prepared by somebody else, but only the sources that I really trust, because I look for specific qualities in all the preparations. Because, okay, so for essential oils, it's you can actually extract not just the chemical components of the plant, but also its energetic imprint. But for this, you really need a pristine plant material that had been grown organically with love and care. And the most important thing is how the plant had been harvested. Because we all know that water has memory. And same as humans, plants have from 70 to 90% of the water component in them. So they remember how they've been treated, how they've been harvested. And, it's the same as, humanely raised animals for meat. It's the same principle, is that, you show respect and love to the plant. You harvest it at its peak and at the moment when it's ready to be picked, when it's ready to give its vital force. And there are certain moon phases that are beneficial for the plants to be harvested. And there are moon phases that can harm and actually kill the plant if you take too much or a wrong part of the plant. And our ancestors knew that, and that's why the farmers had the farmers' almanacs, and they followed, the moon phases and the certain. They knew which zodiac sign the moon was in, and they knew what you can harvest on the particular day. Is it a flower day? Is it a root day? Is it a stem and leaf day? Same with, is it time to plant seeds, or is it time to prune and trim them? So all that is taken into consideration when you grow the plant material and you harvest the plant material. So when I choose a supplier from whom I buy essential oils or hydrosols or flower essences, I make sure that the person followed all this instruction and that medicine was prepared not just commercially for profit, but with love and respect for the plant and the purity of the heart and love to what the person is doing. And same with me. If I distill my own essential oils and I make my own flower essences. And I was especially doing this when I was living in Costa Rica, when I had access to wild growing plants. And Costa Rica by itself is such an energetically potent place that I prepared a lot of amazing remedies there that I still use. And that's why, I know that this particular preparation is so good for this particular case. And I cannot guarantee that all the hibiscus flower essences will do the exactly same thing as the one that I did on a specific astrological day. And they last as long as they last. And when I'm out of this remedy, then I will have to look for something else. Yeah, that's how I work in terms of picking the ingredients. And then I formulate, and I actually love to put together the most potent remedy that is possible. For example, so I choose the essential oils that are not just potent chemically, but they have they're high frequency oils. And when I hold the bottle, I can feel the vibration of the bottle. When you smell it, you just feel how your living being is opening up. So then I know that there is not just the chemicals of the plant in the bottle, but also the energy of the plant. And I combine essential oils, flower essences, and I also work with crystals. and I make crystal grids around my remedies and for preparations. And I also use the gem elixirs. So it's a similar principle as the flower essence, but instead of, but you put a crystal or a gemstone in water, and that's how you capture the energy of that crystal. And then I combine all different energy into one bottle, I would say. And then I set an intention for a particular person, for a particular issue. So it's really a multifaceted approach. And I feel that nowadays the times is so intense and so many people need help on all levels that I have to make the most potent remedy possible.
Wow. That's so fascinating. And you mentioned that you're making a product to help with what's happening with the coronavirus. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, sure. And this is just one of the examples of how I'm solving the puzzles of how do you make the most potent remedy to address all possible aspects of the problem. So, for example, right now I was so upset about the empty shelves in the pharmacies and in the healthy food stores. Hand sanitizers are wiped out. The rubbing alcohol is not present. Like, how do people protect themselves? So right now, this is a very busy week. I'm putting together the hand sanitizers using my own, supplies of the alcohol, the 90%, because it has to be above 90% to be able to kill the virus. Then I'm combining it with the healing components of the plant extracts, botanical extracts, to actually help soothe the skin. And because alcohol is very drying. Then I add essential oils that do A, they boost the immune system. B, they can kill the virus. C, they can emotionally calm and help calm the anxiety and fear and panic that so many people around me have right now. And I don't blame them. And I'm so lucky that I have access to this healing remedies and know how to use it and on a multi-level approach again. And then on top of everything, I'm adding the flower essences into hand sanitizers, similar to the Bach Rescue Remedy. I use some potent flower essences to calm this anxiety and the panic, and also to boost the natural defense systems of the body and spirit too. So this is what I'm doing. And I'm also teaching the community classes and just educating people. And I'm open. Please, anybody can email me, contact me through my website, maitriverde.com. If you have any questions about how to protect yourself, you can sign up for my newsletter I'm about to send. And I will be sending helpful tips and tricks on what can you do to be in balance and to be in harmony. It doesn't matter what's going on. How can you fight the virus? And part of why people panic is because they don't know and they are not in control. And I think calming down is a huge part of dealing with the problem, and make educated choices on what can you do to prevent, and then if it happened, to heal yourself.
Yes. Wonderful. And as we begin to wrap up, I just want to ask you, what do you love about plants?
Oh, I love everything about plants. And for a long time, I was an hermit because I prefer the company of nature and plants and animals to the company of humans. And it changed, and I had to go through my own healing path to see the beauty of the humanity and the complexity of humans and their emotions. And in general, I love the genius of nature, and I admire the diversity in the plant world and the creative solutions that plants came up with to solve their survival problems and to adapt to the changing environment. They change and they modify themselves to thrive without hurting the rest of the environment. And I think this is something that we as humans need to learn from plants. And I also admire the playfulness and the creative expression in plants. look at all the, the aromatic fragrances available, the forms, the colors, the shapes, and the growing patterns of the plants. I just love observing it, and nature is the most genius architect and problem solver and graphic designer and healer. It's just an apothecary and a museum around us. If we just allow ourselves to open hearts and minds to see the beauty and healing power of nature and stop fearing it, but just trying to understand why the things the way they are and what nature is doing by creating certain creatures and or plants. Yeah, and I just love to spend time around plants and to tap into the specific energy of each of them. They're just so unique and so different. And I understand that people don't have time, a lot of time to, to slow down, to sit in nature. But even if you carve 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour a week to just stay silently in nature, in the park, in the garden, or go to the forest or to the ocean beach alone with no music, no audiobook, and sometimes not even a friend, but just by yourself, and have this experience and use all your senses. Observe what you see, listen to the sounds of nature or to the silence, smell all the smells, and touch as many surfaces as you can touch. And by that, you will have such an incredible experience that is unique to you. And by doing this, you naturally relieve stress and boost your creativity. And who knows, you might have some answers or some insights that will come from your unconscious as soon as you drop the ego, mental driven self. So I just encourage everybody to try this little exercise and just go to nature and open your senses, even if it's for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Anna, you mentioned that you had a little tool to share with us that can help us establish more of a relationship with plants for people who are wanting to do this. Would you like to share that with us now?
Sure. Yeah. It's very, very easy. And, as herbalists and vibration medicine practitioners say, very often the remedy that you need is growing on your own backyard. And this was true for our ancestors, and it remains to be true for us. So the little exercise that I encourage everyone to do is just to look around. It depends, of course, where you live or where you work, but usually there is some kind of nature around you. So just go outside and look what is blooming next to your house. And you just pay attention, what is the tree that grows next to your house if you live in the house, or, near your apartment complex. Or if you don't really have a park or, like a large piece of nature, I would say, you can just go to a flower store or, a garden section of the hardware store and see just look at the variety of plants and see what you are drawn to. And don't set any agendas. Don't overthink. Just don't think at all. Just, walk into the plant that is calling you. And this is what maybe you will understand what I meant is that you will be intuitively drawn to something. Something will grab your attention either by the smell or by the shape or just, you don't know why. Just pick something and then look what plant or flower that actually is. And then do a little research. It's so wildly accessible to us. Just Google the mythology or folkloric meaning behind this plant, and also type the name of the plant and flower essence or essential oil, and see what come up and what is this plant known for, or what kind of healing benefits it has. And you will be fascinated to see that it may be actually what you really need, either on the physical level or emotional or for your mental health. Usually we are in a state of a certain archetype, depending on where we are in life. And that's why we're intuitively driven to the medicine that represents the same archetype, but in the plant world. And this is the principle of how we herbalists and vibrational medicine practitioners work. It's kind of matching the archetype of the person to the archetype of the plant. So this is an easy exercise that everybody can do. And just open up and see, do this little exercise, do a little homework, see what's blooming next to your house right now, or what suddenly appeared in your backyard that you maybe even didn't plant. Or just, as I said, just go in nature or in the flower store and see which flower grabs your attention. And then research what is the message and gift or medicine of that plant for you now.
Okay. I love that. Yeah. And I like the idea that, what we need is just kind of growing in our backyards. I spoke with this woman. She works with plants in Hawaii, and she said that, whatever challenges you might be dealing with, there's a plant nearby to help you with it. And she's like, yeah, if you look around, there are plants all over that help you to deal with whatever challenges you might encounter in that environment.
Yes, exactly. And, another kind of a practical observation is usually the antidote to a poisonous plant grows about 10 meters away. At least it used to be in the times of our ancestors in the untouched nature. Right now, the environment is in such condition that you cannot guarantee it. But as it was originally designed by nature, you would find a poisonous plant or mushroom and then remedy or antidote for it within like 10 meters. So you can poison yourself and heal yourself without going too far. That I find fascinating. It's like, nature is not evil. It's so funny and playful. It gives us puzzles and the solutions. You just need to, open yourself to receive and learn.
Yeah. It's like a riddle. Awesome, Anna. If people want to take classes with you or receive a consultation with you or check out some of your products, what's the best way that they can connect with you?
Well, right now I have my website, which is called maitriverde.com. I also have my Facebook page at Maitriverde, and I write a blog and I send newsletters, and I have a product line that people that are not ready to work with me privately can benefit from. And I'm currently putting together some classes, and I'm thinking of organizing more of these plant walks to actually help people establish these connections that we were talking about. Because, as I said, it's not unique to me. Everybody can do it, just on a different sensitivity level. Check my website, and I love getting messages and emails. Never hesitate to email with question, concern, or I also do the free 15-minute phone calls to just answer questions. And if somebody wants a private session or a healing program, to just, kind of see if we are a right fit for one another. And as I said, I can answer any questions regarding the process or regarding the medicine itself.
Anna is also very generously offering a 20% discount for Rainbows Are Circles listeners through April 15th, 2020. So if you are interested in that, you'll just use the discount code Rainbows Are Circles on the website. So Anna, that's so generous. Thank you so much for doing that.
It's my pleasure. And as I mentioned, thank you for having me here and being able to speak about the beauty and incredible healing power of nature and plants. So I'm just open, and I want more people to be connected and use the healing power of nature.
I just want to mention that I signed up for a free consultation with Anna, which turned into later a full consultation and using some of her aromatherapy oils and her plant vibrational essence. And I don't know how it works. I mean, I do a little based on this conversation, but I can just tell you that the month that I was using the essence, I just felt more I was working with a specific issue, and I just felt so much more liberated and so powerful that month. And I was not being held back by negative thought patterns that I used to have. It's almost like I was just free to do what I wanted to do. And I wasn't being held back anymore. And I don't even know how to explain how it worked, but I just know that it did have a really powerful effect. And so I just wanted to thank you for that, Anna. And I highly recommend working with Anna, and even just signing up for her free 15-minute consultation. Definitely check that out. I'll have all of Anna's information in the show notes. And yeah, thank you so much, Anna. I really enjoyed speaking with you today.
Thank you, Julie, for inviting me. I love your podcast, and I admire the work that you do by spreading incredible knowledge and letting people know what alternative methods of healing are available. It's fascinating. Thank you.
Thank you. Boo, 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 boo. Thanks so much for tuning in to this week's show. If you'd like to subscribe to the podcast so you can get these episodes downloaded as soon as they're available, please hit the subscribe button. You can also leave a rating and review for the podcast, which helps to grow the show and reach even more listeners. An additional way you can support Rainbows Are Circles is by donating $1 a month to the podcast. Every single dollar counts and ensures that Rainbows Are Circles stays alive and kicking. Just visit my Patreon page at patreon.com/rainbowsarecircles. I truly appreciate all of your support, and I hope to see you on the next episode. Until then, have a magical day. Bam, 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 bam. Wow, 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 wow. Rainbows are circles.